Welcome to the LCS Fantasy Zone podcast with Bbaannaannaa, Slymynx, Ballizlyfe, and Phisher.
Hey everybody, welcome back. This is episode 3 of the LCS Fantasy Zone. It's week 6 in the LCS and we've got some great starts, sits, teams, and some streaming options for you to consider to try and keep you winning your LCS league.
Hello everybody, my name is Mitch, Ballizlyfe Hannon.
I'm Jesse, Slymynx Yeomans.
They call me Banana.
Nice.
Banana. And I'm Bob Phisher Dickerson. Let's start it off with last week. We had some bold predictions. Mitch, you want to get into some of those?
Sure. My bold prediction last week was I thought it was time for Immortals to lose a game, and I picked C9, pull that upset. While I wasn't right, it was the game of the week, and I have to say that they gave him the best fight out of anyone so far.
That is true.
So, yeah, keep a lookout on C9. They're coming up, and I think they're right now top 3 in NA.
Couldn't agree more with you on that. Just the way they've been playing.
What about you, Joe? What was your?
What's the team name now? They did so bad, I forgot their team name. Splice.
It was Splice, yeah. You had Splice last week.
Going 2-0. Yeah, and I picked up Sinkux, their mid laner. He didn't do terrible, but he didn't do great.
20 points.
It could have been worse.
Yeah.
It could have been worse.
Probably that's pretty bad, I
yeah.
guess.
It's pretty low for a mid laner, but could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, could have been X-Smithy with 7 points.
So we'll rate that pick a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10.
I mean, yeah, Freddie put up 15 points. Almost any other top laner. All right, so last week I had to start for Betsy, who didn't do too terrible. He put up 28 points. And then Clashback was my stream, who got 29 points, which wasn't awful.
Oh, here's the thing. I watched their games and I heard how they say his name. Bob, are you ready? So it's spelled K-L-A-J, for those of you who don't know. It's the new support for Fnatic. And they pronounce it Cly.
Cly.
So, there you go. Cly.
Cly. I thought it would be Clash.
No, yeah, I thought a whole lot of different things, but I heard all of them were saying Cly, all the announcers. So.
Cly it is.
All right, so Cly. But yeah, I wasn't too terribly disappointed with it. They had a pretty easy schedule. I thought they was it at week 5? They had Elements and Unicorns. Unicorns have been on fire. So, I mean, they had a pretty good game against Elements. Unicorn kind of stomped on them, which they've been doing to a lot of people. Unicorns have been the fantasy gem.
Week 5, they had Elements and Giants, didn't they? And they lost to Giants, man.
For Fnatic?
Oh, yeah.
No, you're talking about Rocket. I'm sorry. I was still talking about Cly.
Sorry.
Yes, no. So, yeah. Unfortunately, Rocket gave Giants their first win. It was kind of embarrassing.
And they're now tied for 10th place, just saying. Rocket and Giants.
Yes. It was kind of embarrassing.
Rocket got kind of gutted this season. Like a lot of their players left.
Their jungler, Airwax.
Yankos is on H2K. Who else?
There's this season's jungler, Airwax. He is,
I didn't like him when he was on the Wolves, and I still don't like him.
Yeah, he was
he's
the reason.
He's great at counter-jungling early game. He does all this good stuff, but they are the worst at mid-game and team-fighting decisions. Worse than Giants, worse than anyone. They've thrown more gold leads than any other team, but by a long shot.
Well, he was giving up all the kills mid to, who were they playing against in Giants? He was giving them up to Peppy. Like, Airwax was the one that I feel like Airwax was the one that threw that.
Awesome.
Yeah, he was like 0-3, and they had 1 kill. I think Betsy picked up 1 kill, and then 1 other kill for somebody else. And Giants just like climbed all over that. Airwax was like shaking his head and had his hand on his face in the middle of the game.
I did see that. Yeah, he was really disappointed in himself. I actually did see that.
Yeah. So.
Did Jesse have any strange picks for that
Let's
week
see.
that we need to discuss?
Jesse's.
Yeah, remind me what my picks were.
It's start, Piglet, sit, balls, stream, selfie, and team was TSM. I think those were pretty fair
that's
picks.
Not very bold.
That's not very bold, but the one thing I do want to talk about that is, while Balls probably didn't put up that many points, I want to shout him out for the solo kill on Hooney.
Oh, yeah.
Is one of the best top laners in NA and probably EU as well.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
He totally straight up, that was 1v1, no interaction. So shout out Balls for that one.
Yeah, that was impressive.
You should have seen the Twitch chat spamming D2.
Yeah, he put up 27.88, which is a little less than good for tops.
What's the significance behind D2? Why were they...
Because when they did their Korean boot camp and all the players from NA and EU were over in Korea, then Balls didn't get above Diamond 2.
Oh,
And
that's
like
right.
even though like lots of them got Challenger, Master, whatever, Balls didn't get above Diamond 2. So everybody gives him a ton of flack for that. Every time he makes a play or misses a play, Twitch chat spams D2.
Yeah,
Pretty hilarious.
fortunate for Balls. But that is pretty funny.
Poor guy.
All right, let's go ahead and get into our starts of the week.
Hit 'em where it hurts. The starts of the week.
I will go ahead and start us off. So, start us off there with my start is for CLG's mid laner Huhi. I think I've picked him once before already, but I'm picking him again. Week 5 matchup, so last week he went 7-0-3 versus Energy on LeBlanc, something he hasn't played yet, and he went 4-3-1 in a pretty convincing loss to TSM. Week 6 matchups coming up. He's versus Renegades, which is the weakest team in North America right now, and versus Team Impulse. I'm just picking him because he's been so incredibly solid. Like, there hasn't been one like really bad performance for a week. I'm gonna look at his weeks right now. He hasn't gone under 32, or he had one bad-ish week of 22 points, but all the rest are in the mid to high 30s. Hasn't performed bad yet, and this is some easier schedule against Renegades and Team Impulse. So if you have him on your roster, it's a good idea to start him this week.
Yeah, those are pretty easy matchups this week.
They are just some of the weaker
bottom
teams.
of the pack.
I think is it
Yeah,
who?
CLG's starting to pick it up here.
And they do that. They'll do really good half the season. It's usually the first half of the season they do good, but they've been kind of pulling it together this season. So I could see them maintaining throughout. They have a whole new roster change too outside of Afro, and well, they have Vic Smithy and Darshan. It's just the two, Huhi and Stixay, I guess.
Yeah, he's performing well. He did get solo killed by TSM mid laner Bjergsen. Even with that, he still managed a positive KDA, and they were getting stopped. And he did a lot of damage on his Victor.
All right, well, my start of the week is Unicorns of Love visit Chachi. Like we've seen the last few weeks, Unicorns of Love is kind of starting to look like they're getting comfortable following all the roster changes. Like, they added Fox and Steel back. They added a jungler, Rudy.
They've had 3 different junglers.
Lost Kikis. He was their old jungler. So there's a lot of changes, but they're still 7-3. They've been looking really strong over the last 2 weeks. Visit Chachi's been putting up major points, 9th 2 weeks ago and 3rd last week in points scored. Or fantasy points, I guess. And he just has his carry pants on, and I expect him to stay on this week. You know, like, he's facing Giants, who, although they picked up their first win over Rocket, they're not too good overall. They are also against Vitality, and I've always been kind of pro Vitality, but I still think Unicorns of Love is in a better place right now, and longer games means more fantasy points, so that one might be a bit of a grinder, but I think that Unicorns of Love schedule is relatively manageable, and Viz is going to put up big points.
What I love about Viz is they put him on carry champions a lot of the times, right? And that's what you want is for the top laners. You want him to be on the carry guys getting into fights. So
yeah, exactly.
I know he played Rise. He played Rise and Poppy last week, but he also gets a lot of Fiora games and stuff like that. So that is a really good pick, I think.
Yeah, he's going to put up numbers.
Wow.
Yeah.
69% owned by, but only 33% are starting. So start that man. Let's go.
He sat on
Like
the
half the
bench
people that have him are sitting him. So just
Why?
That was me, by the way. I'm saying that right now. I had him sitting.
yeah,
in the
you're
last
one of
week.
them.
Oh man, that makes me feel bad.
What's yours, Joe?
My start of the week is going to be Kikis, the top laner for G2.
It's a nice choice.
So Fnatic had a very bad week against G2 when they played them, or a very bad game when they played them in week 3. And they're also playing against Rocket, who's 1-9. And I think Kikis put up a total of like 31 points against both these teams the last time they played. I think he's only gotten better since then. That was week 1 and week 3.
Like, this guy's a brand new top laner. Like, he's learning on the fly.
Oh, yeah. And his champion pool's probably... I mean, he's always known for weird stuff. You never know if he'll pull something crazy out, but... I like his matchups this week. I mean, anyone against Rocket is probably a good pick, and then I just think Fnatic's going to have a bad week.
You don't think Freddie's going to deliver again this week, huh?
Yeah, I'm not feeling Freddy this week.
And Freddie's
That's funny, 'cause
all
that's
washed
Bob's
up.
start. Yeah.
Time to retire, Freddie. That's where Rocket's where people go to retire. I mean, look at Woolite. Who was on Rocket last season? Woolite. Who else was there? If they're not moving up, if they're the one good player, they'll go somewhere. But most of them go there and retire. Overpow, bye.
See you later. How about you, Bob? What are you starting?
My start of the week this week is also a Unicorns of Love player, and that's Steelback. And that's because of his matchup. as well. They're playing against Team Vitality, so he'll be going up against...
That's Yarnan.
Yes, he's going up against Yarnan, which I know is going to be a tougher matchup, but Unicorns of Love have been on fire. I hope that's a bloody game. Team Vitality's been on point. They've been delivering points, and I think Unicorns in Love and Vitality is just going to be a very high-scoring game. So I'm looking forward to seeing that one. And then the obvious one that I'm picking them for is he's going against Giants. That speaks for itself. I don't even have to go into depth
You
there.
guys are seeing a trend here, right? People playing Renegades or Giants or that. You maybe want to start those players.
That's
Yeah,
the
that's
secret.
a pretty good way to go.
Plus, he's already good. I mean,
so,
his team's going to,
he's phenomenal.
Hey, to add on to that Steelback pick, I'm looking at the stats right now, and he's third in points for 80 carries, and
6th overall in the whole league.
yeah, and he's way down there on ownership. So
Yeah.
like he's available. He's worth starting. He's 10th or something on starting percentage, but he's third in points, so that doesn't line up. Start that man.
And right now, halfway through the season, I gotta say he's easily the front runner for most improved player. I mean, this guy was in Challenger scene last year. Fnatic dropped him after their showings in the international tournaments and stuff.
That is true.
And he hasn't had a lot of love, but he's really showing up big this split. So grab him up if you can, guys.
and he sounds like Kermit when he talks. I mean,
He kind of looks like
very
Kermit.
good point.
he does kind of look like Kermit.
Like he'd sound froggish.
All right, let's go ahead and get into sits.
Get benched, noob, with Sits of the Week.
All right, this one hurts me a little bit. My sit of the week is, first off, I really like Energy, but they did not have a good week last week. And my sit of the week is their AD carry, Alltech. Week 5 matchups, we had him go 1-3-1 versus CLG and 1-2-1 versus Fox. I mean, the dude was a part of 4 kills in 2 games. It's just really brutal stats. Riot Chat brought up one of the casts. He brought up some stats about Alltech. So he has the second highest farm per minute for 80 carries, but he has the second least damage dealt, meaning he's just off in a side lane, just trying to fire off, just trying to get back into the game when they're already down. And it's been a trend this season. He's been disappointing. He hasn't lived up to the hype, and I would be sitting him this week. Against his matchups are against C9, which we just talked about, who are strong, and Dignitas, which is kind of a wild card.
Yeah, it's Apollo. They haven't really been too much of a fight. Like Apollo or Dignitas in general, those aren't really high-scoring games if you look at some of those.
I mean, he had 5 deaths and 4 kills and assists added up last week, so just not getting it done.
My sit is the support from NRG, Kongquan. Even when he was like a sub on teams in previous splits, I forget who he played for, but he's definitely showed up in previous splits. I always thought he kind of looked like one of the lower tier players. And that, like, especially after last week, I think NRG was showing their lack of communication. Like, people were TPing in while others were falling back, and it was just a mess. He only came up with 5 points last week.
I just want to shout that up. My opponent over there, Bbaannaannaa, had him in his starting lineup last week. That really helped.
Yeah, rip.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
And yeah, for that matter, like, nobody on NRG scored more than 20 points on the week, which is
Oh my gosh.
bad. So, like, I think NRG is in a bad place right now. They have some issues to work with or work through, like with communication and synergy. So,
Until those get fixed, sit them, boys.
yeah, like Mitch said, they're playing Dig and C9. We all think C9 is coming into their own. They're a top 3 team, and like you said, the Dig game will be kind of close, but I'm not confident that NRG will be winning that one and putting up points. So, yeah, Kongquan, sit him.
Kongquan and being set.
My sit of the week.
There's a bold prediction coming.
The bold prediction is Forbidden.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Interesting.
So they're playing Splice and G2.
This guy in Splice, man.
Alright, so when they played in week 3, they played G2 and Splice. He put up 18 points total. G2 held him to 6 points, less than 6 points when they played him in week 3. He only got 12 points when he played Splice. And that could be a game, like in all of H2K games, like if they just roll them hard, they don't get enough points.
Right.
So this could be where they get rolled and Forbidden gets held back in points against G2, and then they could roll Splice, and he could just not have enough time to accrue points.
Oh, I see what you're
in
saying.
that week.
Yeah.
But
no,
in week 3, he put up
close enough game.
Yeah, he put up 18.5 points, which is
terrible.
It's pretty bad for a mid laner.
I'd go ahead and call it terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my my bullet prediction for the week.
That is pretty good. I could see that. He's just such a good player. It's weird.
Semi-bold.
On the sit line, but definitely possible. What about you, Bob? What's your sit?
My sit of the week is Phoenix from Team Liquid this week.
What?
Wow, that's even more
Jeez.
bold. Jesus Christ, Bob.
And the reason I picked Phoenix,
Do tell.
he's up against Echo Fox and Immortals, and I don't want to play anybody against Immortals for fantasy points. And with Froggen returned to the line, I don't think Phoenix is better than Froggen. He's the Anivia king, so.
I mean, there's something there. Like, I mean, Froggen dumped the mid laners this
Echo
week.
Fox was looking good this week, eh?
They looked very strong, yes.
So
Put up 52 for Froggen that week, so I can see
yeah.
that. Still bold. I mean, Phoenix is one of the best mid laners in NA.
He is putting up numbers.
Yeah. But it is a difficult week. I'll give you that one, Bob. You do have a point there.
Yeah, so I was like,
We'll chalk that one up for bold predictions of the week for next week's.
Yeah, that one, we'll definitely be talking about that one next week. We'll see if Bob is got some vision or not at all.
we'll see.
We'll see. All right, that brings us into streams of the week.
Rolling the dice with streams of the week.
So these are players who are less than 50% owned, players that are available to you that you should be picking up that we think we're going to be putting up points next week. So for mine is Keith McBrief, a.k.a. Lay Toucan, a.k.a. The Bench. Just talking about all the Echo Fox players. Just talking about how Echo Fox is looking a lot better, and they finally got their whole roster together. With their whole roster intact, they're 3-1 on the split. So they look quite strong. And Keith has always been able to put up fantasy points, no matter what team he's been on. As long as he's got some competent LCS quality players there, he should be putting up big points. And he's only owned in 34% of leagues right now, so a lot of availability for Keith McBrief. Last week he went 2-0-7 and 5-1-3 versus Energy and versus Renegades. And next week they're against Liquid and Dig. So decent, like middle of the pack teams. This is going to be a good week to see. We'll see where Echo Fox stands and where Key stands. But if he's available, grab him up. Sorry, not Dignitas. They got Tip. Again, middle of the pack team, though. Similar.
Yeah,
agreed.
They're like the same record, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
4-6 and 3-7.
Yeah, they played each other
potato.
in the last game. They were the same record until they played each other yesterday.
And yeah, like Echo Fox players, now that they got their lineup together,
Well, yeah,
they're going to be available and they're going to start putting up points. So.
Oh, totally.
All right, my stream of the week is the G2 support hybrid. I just picked him up in our fantasy league to replace Kasing, and that's because he's been looking really good. He's 4th in points scored by supports in both the EU and NA, and he's outscoring like some of the most popular support picks like Yellowstar and Afromu. He's only owned in 36.7% of leagues, so like he's still relatively available. Makes him the 9th most popular of supports, I think it was. And that spread between 4th in points scored and 9th in popularity means he's a good value pick. So if you're looking to swap out your supports, look to hybrid.
Hybrid. Yeah, G2 support, man. What's their schedule, you said? Their schedule's looking pretty...
I didn't say,
They have
but
one easy game, one hard game. Let's take a look.
Fnatic and Roccat.
Oh, yeah. Rocket, free points.
Yeah, and Fnatic's bot lane is still getting used to each other a bit. I know, what's his name? Cly
Lion.
Cly, you got
Reckless.
it.
Cly and Reckless. They put up pretty good points last week, but I
Yeah,
just
they're playing
assume it'll
strong,
take some
but
time
they're
for them
playing
to
G2
be
though.
a resilient duo.
Yeah.
This is G2, guys. These guys are not quite Immortals level, but we're getting
Yeah,
good.
G2 is looking really good. Like, my money's where my mouth is. I picked him up in my league.
Yeah. Hey, good point.
I think Hybrid's a good stream for this week.
I picked up Keith just as well. Just saying,
Yeah.
on my stream.
Perfect.
There you go.
I like it. All right, Joe.
What's up with?
So originally I had Fox on my stream of the week, but I either read that wrong or he got bumped up after last
I think
week.
he got picked. Yeah, I think everyone just picked him up. Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go with my pick of the week, Kikis, because he's only owned by 39% of teams, but he's like top 4 in total points for top laners,
Oh, wow.
which doesn't really make too much sense if you look at total points.
It really doesn't, and G2's been good for a while.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense why he's not in.
So, yeah, and I think he's going to have a good week this week. Again, they're playing Fnatic, who I think they'll beat, and Giants, or Rocket.
Rocket.
So I think he's got another strong week ahead of him. So that's my stream of the week.
Just to add to that, so Joe's team, he's in his flex pick. You guys know your flex pick is usually used for 80 carries or mids. Joe's rocking a double top next week, and he's going with Bbaannaannaa and Kickus.
They're both so
That's
strong.
nice.
They're the top
Yeah.
3, top 4. Are they not?
Odo's top and Kickus is 4th in total points.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's a great reason
For
to
top
go with them.
liners.
What does Kicka's match history or points history look like? Does anybody have that?
Improving every week, pretty much.
Let's see, here is Kickus. We were looking at 29, 18, 34, 38, 42, and then they're playing. Who do they have this week? They've got Fnatic and Rocket. Yeah, Kickus is going to put up points.
He's looking strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he had one bad week in there, but he's been rocking and rolling ever since then.
That was his week 2, and they played against, ironically, Giants and H2K. Well, there you go. He was against
That Malphite
Odoamne.
game, yeah, he was really rocking and rolling that game. 9-1-9.
Well, he probably rolled over Giants so fast. You know, it was just over. Not a lot of
Yeah.
points to be had. And then H2K, it was Odoamne, so I could see that being low
All right,
scoring.
moving into the teams of the week.
My stream of the week, I'm going to go. My stream of the week is
Fuck you, Bob, yeah.
is Hillsong. He's the support for Unicorns. He's less than 50%. And I just
That's
want
insane.
an honorable mention here on Rudy, who is still less than 30% ownership.
Damn.
And I know he
That
was your
was the
stream
stream
last
last
week.
week.
I don't know why he's not getting picked up, especially they're playing.
I know.
They've got an easy schedule this week against Giants. Well, not Vitality, but against Giants. There's going to be points there, and I think, like I said, Vitality, I think that'll be a bloody game. Rudy needs to get picked up.
He's averaging over 20 points a game through 4 games. So,
That's
guy's really producing.
that's stupid high.
Especially for a rookie. Like, this guy has no competitive experience.
Pick him
He's
up.
a really good player.
Start him. Put him.
Yeah,
Don't even put him
Hillsong
on your.
is second in
Yeah,
total
don't even
points.
bench him. Don't even pick him up. Get him in the starting lineup, guys.
Yeah, and Hillsong's up there as well. He has a lot of
yeah.
points, and they're both so it's like there's no love for the Unicorns of love.
There's no love for the Unicorns, but there really should be.
Yeah, they're one of the
We're
top
starting
teams.
to realize that now.
At least for in fantasy points, and these guys really rack up points. They might not be number one,
And
but
record.
they rack up really high
Absolutely.
points. All right, yeah, let's go ahead and get into our
Now we're moving on to
teams. Yeah,
Speaking of, this goes perfectly what we were just talking with. My team of the week is UOL, Unicorns of Love. All the reasons we just discussed. They're the top 3 in the Europe is pretty clear, and it's H2K, G2, and UOL. And they're not owned in that many leagues. I just picked them up off the waiver wire in our league, and just putting up a lot of points, like we said. And they have the easy-ish schedule next week, with the game 1 against Giants and then game 2 against Vitality. So they're available. Grab them up.
I mean, Vitality's pretty good.
Oh, absolutely. But Giants is.
Oh, yeah.
that's where your points are. All right, Jess.
So I think I've been apprehensive in previous weeks to kind of hop aboard the C9 hype train, but I think I'm about ready to do that now.
Nice. Yeah. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, Mitch has been on it for a while. I think they're starting to understand each other better. Like their play styles and the synergy is building. So and like we talked about a little bit earlier, their game against Immortals was extremely entertaining, and it showed that they can at least put up a fight with the best teams in LCS. And this week they have TSM and Energy. We talked about Energy. We don't think they're looking very good right now. And I think TSM will put up a fight, which means the game could go longer, more Dragons, more Barons, etc. But I still think that C9 is better than TSM at this point. So, yeah, it's time
C9
to
still
join the C9
better than
group.
TSM.
What's that?
You said C9 better than TSM this week.
I think so.
Overall.
I think C9's looking better than TSM. I don't think it may not stay that way for the entire split, but at least right now, I think C9 is looking better.
And I think that's game of the week. If you're gonna watch one game next week, I'd be watching the TSM C9.
Yeah, that's like an age-old matchup in NA, so
Yeah,
they're always fun to watch. There's rivalry there.
They're the only two teams to win a North American split, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Until CLG
just did. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
They just got their first one. Yeah.
How about that double lift in Yellow Star? Surprisingly struggling more than I expected them to as a team. I'm not saying last week they put up a lot of points. Don't get me wrong, but Yellow Star is like putting up more deaths than he ever has. Like in EU, I don't know if you guys noticed that at all, but I don't know.
Yeah, Yellow Star, he's used to full command of the team when he was with Fnatic. He's making all the calls, everything's calm. I don't think there's quite that. I think Bjergsen's saying a lot. I think Doublelift's saying a lot. So I think that's affecting his gameplay just a little bit. But as soon as he gets used to it, he's a very good support player.
As a support main, I would blame the ADC. It's probably Doublelift's fault, so he has to die. So Doublelift lives.
I mean, a lot of it is Doublelift's fault, actually. You're probably not wrong there.
Doublelift likes to scream. We've all seen it.
Oh yeah. What's your team, Joe?
So I'm going to stay on the G2 bandwagon this week.
Nice.
So they're going against Rocket. There's not much to say there. I think they're going to do what the other 9 out of 10 teams did to them. They just roll through them.
Rocket equals points in your pocket. Just saying.
Yeah. And then they're going against Fnatic. So they beat Fnatic when they played them in week 3. And Kiggs didn't have a great showing in that game. That's who I've also got for my pick of the week. But I think he's only gotten better since then. And I think this is just not Fnatic's week at all. And G2's probably going to go and move solo to the top of the EU ladder after this week.
So you're also saying H2K is going to drop a game this week, then?
I think they're more likely to drop a game this week. Because Vitality's just... I don't know. Origin is... I think we had them going 0-2 last week, but they pulled one out.
I mean, it is Origin. Like, you never know. Like, they have so much talent.
Yeah, they have... There's 2 games that I think H2K could lose, and there's only 1 game that I think
that's
G2 would have a chance at losing. So they
just FYI, H2K is playing Vitality and Origin.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are both
my team of the week.
Now, my team of the week is going to be CLG. I think CLG is going to take both wins. They're playing against
I'm with that.
struggling Team Impulse, and they're playing against Renegades, which is a much like...
Freelo.
Yeah, much like Rocket, much like...
Points
Giants.
in your pocket.
Points in your pocket, that's right. So...
That rhymes. We can...
Yeah. So I'm going with CLG. Should be easy points. If you have any of them, start them for the team. Easy. Both wins.
Both wins. Guaranteed. That's the Phisher guarantee.
The Phisher.
Tease it.
Yeah, no, hey, I did have a question. Something that kind of piqued my interest, though, on one of the teams this week. Their matchup. Elements. They're playing against Giants, and they're playing against Origin. We watched Elements last week play... they took the win over... Who was it that they took the win over? Rocket, which isn't saying much, but it was a close matchup between Elements, I believe. Fnatic, I'm saying. Did anybody get a chance to see that one?
I watched both those games. Elements are close to turning the corner to being a good team. I think they're still a bad team, but it's like they're right there, right? They want to be a good team. They're learning together, and they have the talent. Like that could be a 2-0 week. Like that wouldn't be surprising, but it's more likely 1-1.
Oh, they did awful last week against Fnatic. Never mind. I just saw that.
Yeah, that was a game. Yeah, they lost brutally that game.
But I don't know, Origin's been a struggling team. Who was it that we predicted them to lose to last week? Vitality, which they did.
Yeah, we predicted 0-2, but they went 1-1 last week.
Well, you guys have got me on that hype train. It's just something to look at. I don't know. That's a risky play, but it was just something I was thinking to look at.
Keep some, in a lot of these other fantasy things like basketball, you have your watch list. People to watch coming up. You can keep Elements on the watch list for now.
Yeah.
As well as some of their players like Mr. Rallis, who's been featured in some of our other weeks.
I love Mr. Rallis. If I didn't have 2 ADCs already, Steelback and Piglet, I would pick them up. Does anybody else have anything? Yeah, no, I'm not dropping them.
Nope, nothing else I can think of. Do your closing ceremony speech.
Closing ceremony. All right. Hey, thanks for listening, people. We appreciate you guys so much. Remember, if you want to check us out, you can get a hold of us on Twitter at LCS Fantasy Zone. On Facebook, you can message us at LCS Fantasy Zone, or you can email us at lcsfantasyzone@yahoo.com. That's yahoo.com, not Gmail. Sorry to anyone who tried to get a hold of us there last week. You can ask us anything from last-minute roster changes to your options for starts and sits, or if you just want to jump in and say hi, we really appreciate it. Thanks again, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks.